Welcome back. And for this week's episode, we're going over UFC Fight Night, Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot. This fight is going down in Las Vegas on Saturday night at the UFC Apex. Guys, this episode is presented by Notorious Pulse Radio, and this is your host, Mitch. Now let's get into it. Rafael Fiziev, the number 6 ranked lightweight, is going against the massive wrestler grappler Mateusz Gamrot. And even though this fight is taking place in the Apex, this for the hardcore fans is a must watch. I mean, obviously, both of these guys are extremely talented and they are both huge contenders in their division. Obviously, Fiziev coming off his last fight, which was a loss against to the highlight Justin Gaethje, which obviously he stood there to toe to toe. The one doubt that I had in Fiziev is that he actually looked very small when it came to a guy like Justin Gaethje, and I have to say, a guy like Mateusz is a huge lightweight. He's a big frame at 5'10" and a massive grappler and wrestler. How do I see this fight actually playing out? I know that Fiziev is the highly experienced striker. Obviously, he's a striking coach in Thailand, trains with a lot of the best professionals in the world. He has beautiful combinations and this absolute killer instinct about the way he fights. But obviously, Gamrot is someone who's extremely durable, coming off a big win against a very, very difficult opponent. He had to go against Jalen Turner. He pulled off the huge win. Jalen Turner is a very difficult person to go against because of his tremendous frame, coming at 6'1", weighing in at 155. This is a very difficult opponent to reach and especially to get on the ground, and showing the sheer strength of Gamrot on how he was able to handle Jalen Turner. I believe if he was going to be able to, and when he grabs his paws onto Fiziev, I think Fiziev will not have a lot of chance to be able to keep this fight on the ground, which will obviously favor him. For that reason, I'm going to have to edge out the victory that night to Gamrot, the number 7th ranked lightweight. I just truly believe he has the better rounded grappling and he really has the cardio to go the 5 rounds. I mean, we haven't seen Fiziev fight a full 5 round fight, and we saw the damage he took against the highlight. I mean, he took a lot of big punches, and I believe mentally that gives Gamrot the edge. I mean, Fiziev hasn't took such a hard loss in a long time. He was on an absolute kill spree until his last bout. So I'm really excited for both of them to step back in and get that accreditation that they both deserve and having a main event. The co-main event is also another beautiful fight that I'm very excited for, and that's in Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige. Obviously, Bryce Mitchell last bout to Ilya Topuria, he got absolutely slaughtered. I mean, Topuria exposed Bryce Mitchell by just doing whatever he wanted with him and being able to finish him in a choke. And obviously, Bryce Mitchell is known for getting anybody to the ground and having a ruthless ground and pound. I mean, that's essentially his secret sauce in the octagon is the grappling and the ground and pound. How that favors to his opponent, a guy like Dan Ige, I believe Dan Ige is a very talented fighter. He's been and danced with the absolute best in the featherweight division. The good thing about this bout, he's coming on a 2-fight win streak. He's actually building some momentum. Prior to these 2 wins, he was on a 3-fight skid. And you obviously know, being on a 3-fight losing streak in the UFC, your job is absolutely on the line. I believe mentally and physically, Dan Ige is coming into this fight to kill Bryce Mitchell. I am telling you, Dan Ige hits like a Mack truck. He is a very powerful featherweight and he has a good overall game. He's danced and tangled with the best of them, and I believe his overall level of competition has been much more higher. And I still believe he is extremely durable when it comes to his division. I believe that's why he is going to edge out with a W come Saturday night. I mean, this is definitely fight of the night potential without a doubt. I mean, these two fighters are very exciting. And obviously, Bryce Mitchell, so much things behind them, a lot of conspiracy theories that he's always blabbing about online, and his way of life. And, you know, just he's a complete character. I love the matchmaking on this. I mean, I would have loved to see Bryce Mitchell fight Movzar, but obviously that fight got canceled for whatever reason, and this fight was able to be scheduled, and this is going to be a fantastic co-main event. The next bout is a couple of ranked strawweights, and I mean, these ladies are coming in a sense. This might be the last fight, and I'm going to introduce the fighters, and that is Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson. I mean, obviously, both girls are on a losing streak. Rodriguez is coming off a 2-fight skid, and Michelle Waterson has been 1-5 and on a 3-fight losing streak in her last 6. The way I see this fight going, it's plain and simple. Rodriguez is the better fighter. Rodriguez is the more durable fighter, and Michelle Waterson is getting taken out. I truly believe if this is not her last fight, then Marina Rodriguez will make this her last fight. Because after she is done with Waterson, she is definitely going to hang up the gloves. I mean, she had a completely remarkable career. Waterson had a record of 18-11, has fought every single person in her division. I mean, she's never backed down from a fight, and that's the most respect you can give to any professional athlete. Rodriguez is an absolute dog. I truly believe she is in her prime, and I believe Michelle Waterson is essentially over the hill. And essentially, that is not a good sign when it comes to someone's fight career. Rodriguez will pull the victory when it comes to Saturday night. The next bout that I want to mention is obviously Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle is going against AJ Fletcher. Both of these guys have been coming up into the UFC. Obviously, you have AJ Fletcher, who got into the UFC with one of the most beautiful Dana White Contender Series debuts. He had this insane flying knee knockout that he was able to pull off. After that, he had a string of losses, and his last fight, he came out and pulled over a nice W for himself. Bryan Battle, I was been rooting for Bryan Battle in the Ultimate Fighter, and the fact that he won and has been, doing very well in the UFC. Obviously, one of his only losses was to Renat Fakhedinov, and that dude is an absolute savage. I mean, he just literally eats people. One of the most ruthless welterweights that are actually coming up, and he was able to hang with him for as long as he physically could. He's coming off a nice win in his last bout, and I believe that this welterweight is going to beat the brakes of AJ Fletcher. I mean, that is the only way that I'm seeing this fight go down. I'm going to be rocking with Bryan Battle come Saturday night. Obviously, they say sometimes saving the best for last, but literally, the opening bout on this main event is to me another chance to be probably the knockout or submission of the night. You got Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain. And I mean, these guys, regardless of what happens, it's not like they're fighting for the title, but sometimes a good scrap is a good scrap. And I mean, these two guys are there to deliver that. I mean, Ricardo Ramos is a tough, durable Brazilian. I mean, this guy can bang. He's made it and fought with a lot of good ranked fighters in the UFC. He's had to go through a lot of these Dagestani guys. And obviously, Charles Jourdain, I mean, he's just an absolute highlight reel. He brings the thunder, the lightning every time he enters the UFC octagon. I mean, he is easily, he's definitely a fan favorite, and he is so exciting. I mean, this guy just, he always fights to win a bonus. I mean, that's just something about him. He never plays it safe. He fights literally until the bell, and that's what makes Jourdain, to me, the favorite of the night. Is just the energy that he brings is explosive. I mean, he comes and he has a good stand up, and he has a very good ground game. I mean, his record, he has wins and losses, of course, coming in at 14-6, but he's young and he gets better and better. And he takes his losses with strides and proves his game and comes back and fights only the best competition in the UFC. I mean, this guy is a very exciting featherweight. Guys, remember, this fight will be at the UFC Apex come Saturday night at 7 p.m. Remember, if you want to support us, please like, follow, and subscribe us on all social media platforms. And remember, if it ain't notorious, I don't want it. And guys, check us out on notoriouspoolsclothing.com to support us for the best merch. Your host, Mitch, and we'll see you soon.